Is audio video okay? Give me a thumbs up, otherwise I don't know if it's okay. Yeah, okay, good. Everybody has this chart. It was linked to the email. Yeah, so you can, you must have already written it down. If you've
Recording in progress.
If you've not written it down, now is a good time. Please quickly write it down. For those who have finished writing it down, we will move ahead. Today we are going to move on to a Panya Sutta. Panya means wisdom. I have clarified earlier, on the Buddha's path there are 3 pillars: Shila, Samadhi and Panya. Shila is the moral and the ethics that are required for a pure mind to disappear. If the mind is impure, it will not disappear, and if it does not disappear, one cannot transcend beyond. That is Shila, the morals and the ethics required for a pure mind. When you have a pure mind, naturally Samadhi starts happening. Why? Because now the mind has learnt to disappear, get out of my way, along with the body, which anyway gets out of my way quite easily, and I transcend beyond. Yeah? So Samadhi starts happening very well. Those who did Anapana Samadhi and have been practicing once or twice every week, you will notice that your Samadhi becomes deeper and deeper. And if it is not happening, very clearly your Shila is weak. Yeah? Means some morals, some ethics, some purity is required. Something is missing that you can figure out by looking at all the vows. You have vows in your journal. So please look at them. Something is missing. When Shila and Samadhi get strong, the third leg, Panya or wisdom, starts strengthening. Yeah, so today's sutta is specifically on how Samadhi strengthens Panya. Panya means wisdom. Which wisdom? My own inner wisdom, the insights that come to me in my Samadhi. Not wisdom borrowed from the Buddha, not wisdom borrowed from Ekta. Yeah, that is all borrowed knowledge. You can memorize that, but that does not mean you see it. Yeah, these are two different things. So memorizing something cannot take you there. Yes, it's good, we take a pointer from the Buddha, we take a pointer from Ekta, but finally when I sit down in Samadhi, I must see it. And when my Samadhi is really deep, natural insights start emerging. Okay. So we are doing a Panya Sutta, in which you will understand what is the meaning of wisdom or Panya. If your Samadhi is good, this must have already started happening to you. If your Samadhi is not strong enough, everything will be a bouncer. It will be only intellectual knowledge today. No problem, it's intellectual. I understand. I will again sit down in Samadhi. Yeah? Have that resolve. So, once or twice a week, I sit down in Samadhi and I evaluate my own Samadhi with the 17 Samadhi points that we did in the last session. Yeah? They are all in your Samadhi journal. Okay? So you sit down again, look at those 17 Samadhi points, how they went after the Samadhi sitting, and you will naturally see these Panchakhanda. Yeah? These will be the additional Samadhi points that will be added for today's session. Again, a reminder, journals must be submitted every week. One more Gurukul participant had to step out because they were not submitting journals on time. Yeah, so even if you've not finished all the points, you write to me, I've finished so many points. Yeah. Please submit journals. if you feel that Gurukul requirements are too strict, then you can choose to take one more year and join us back next year. Okay? Okay, now moving on with the sutta. Today's sutta PDF has been provided to everybody. It is Samyutta Nikaya 22.53 Upapaya Sutta. In English, engagement. Not the engagement that is prior to the wedding. This is the engagement of the mind. What does the mind constantly get engaged in? Yeah, that's the engagement we are talking about here. It's a short sutta, but the explanation is long. So see that you make your notes and also have this table in front of you. At Savatthi, bhikkhus, one who is engaged is unliberated. One who is disengaged is liberated. I'll pause there. What is he talking about? If your mind is consumed in something, it is caught up in something, some thought, some feeling, some sensation, some perception. If the mind is engaged, it is unliberated. Unliberated means it is bound. Yeah? If it is disengaged, it is liberated, means it is free. This we all know. Yeah? Now, the task is about seeing it in your samadhi and identifying where does your mind get engaged. Yeah? Everybody is different. So you will have some specific aggregates that you will have to work on. They are called Pancha Khanda or 5 aggregates. In one of these 5 aggregates, you will see your mind is constantly engaged. 1 or 2 or 3, depending on how thick the veil is for you. For some of us, the veil is very thick, all 5. Yeah, we are stuck in all 5. But some of us, lucky ones, 1 or 2 or 3. So it's your job to figure out for yourself, what does my mind get engaged in and completely consumed in, such that it gets the title of unliberated mind. Okay. Okay. Reading ahead. Consciousness bhikkhus, while standing, might stand engaged with form, based upon form, established upon form, with a sprinkling of delight. It might come to growth, increase and expansion. I will pause there. No point reading ahead. It's the same complicated lawyer-like language. Yeah, might as well pay attention. Consciousness, when it is standing, it gets engaged in something. It does not like to be disengaged. This is the first important pointer. See that you make your notes. This is your last session before your exam, and your notes will be the only useful thing for your exam. Yeah. So, and you know exam is a mandatory submission for all, right? So see that you make notes. So when the consciousness is engaged, what does it get engaged with? The first one is form. In Pali, it is rupa. What does he mean by form? I am sitting in my samadhi and suddenly the form of a family member comes up in the mind. The family member is not in the house, maybe not even in the country that I live in. The form is in the mind. Do you recognize? Just the face. Maybe there is anger on that face. So now the consciousness is engaged with that form. It is based upon the form. What is the meaning of based? Now it establishes a relationship with whatever that form is. Let's say the form is of a parent. Consciousness becomes the son or daughter. If the form is the son or daughter, consciousness becomes the parent. If it is a sibling, consciousness becomes the sibling. So it is based on the form. Has that become clear? Next, it gets established upon the form. Now it creates a story. I am the parent, this is the son or daughter. So it is established in that story now. Yeah. See that you make notes? I might ask you, what is the difference between based upon form and established upon form? You should be able to answer that. So recognize it gets established in that story. Why? Because in the story there is delight. Even if it is an angry face of the spouse, angry face of the parent, there is still delight in engagement. Do you recognize that twisted delight? Yeah, that. There is a delight in engagement, even in anger, in argument, in cruelty, in ill will. It is the delight of engagement. Okay, not talking about the pleasantness of the situation or the unpleasantness of the situation. I get an identity. Remember? I'm based upon that. Because I got identity, I have a subtle delight. It doesn't matter even if the identity has evoked a story of anger, hatred, and unpleasantness. I still got an identity. Yeah, so there is unpleasantness of the situation, if it is an unpleasant situation, plus the delight of identification. Do you see this weird mix? Do you recognize it? If not, this is number 1 point for your samadhi recognition. Yeah. This is not easy to see in a pleasant situation. Because the pleasantness of the situation and the delight of identity gets mixed. So you don't know which pleasantness belongs where. Yeah? It's easier to see in an unpleasant situation. There's the unpleasantness of that form and the story that the form has brought up, and there is a delight. There's a sprinkling of delight there. And this delight is of identification, because I feel now I am someone. There is growth, increase and expansion of the I. This becomes mine. I am the doer in this situation, or I am the experiencer in this situation. This is the growth, the multiplication of I-ness. And that is what is increase and expansion. Clear? Growth, increase and expansion. The story goes on and on and on. I keep expanding my identity. The more I say something to the form in my mind, the more my identity is expanded. Do you recognize this whole phenomena happening in a split of a second? I have explained it elaborately, taking 10 minutes. It doesn't take 10 minutes to happen. In 10 milliseconds, zup, 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 zup. Yeah? You've moved from just the delight of identification all the way to expansion. Yeah? So attempt to see this in your samadhi. It's easier seen in samadhi than in open-eyed, because in open-eyed you tend to get engaged with the form. Yeah? Too engaged, too involved. You're so indulgent there that clear seeing cannot happen. It's easier for clear seeing to happen in a closed-eyed sitting. First paragraph is clear? Yeah. All the other paragraphs follow the same thing, only the aggregate changes. The aggregate here was a form. I saw the form of a family member. Yeah. Whether face, whether body, whatever. Whichever way you saw form. So I'll just read that part again. Consciousness bhikkhus, while standing, might stand engaged with form, based upon form, established upon form, with a sprinkling of delight. It might come to growth, increase and expansion. That's very clear? Moving on. Or consciousness, while standing, might stand engaged with feeling, based upon feeling, established upon feeling, with a sprinkling of delight, it might come to growth, increase, and expansion. You're sitting in samadhi, very peaceful, very quiet, no feeling, absolutely still. Suddenly, some nasty feeling comes up. You don't even know why you're feeling like this. Restlessness and unhappiness or sadness. Some feeling, whichever feeling. What happens to that consciousness which was just abiding peacefully? It gets engaged in that feeling. Whatever the feeling is about, it now says, I am sad. This is called based upon feeling. I am sad, I am happy. It can be a happy feeling. I am restless. I am not feeling so good. Whatever. The basis of that feeling becomes mine. The ownership of the feeling becomes mine. There's a belongingness with the feeling. That is the meaning of based upon feeling. Once I get identified with it, now I create a story. That is establishment upon the feeling. Why am I feeling like this? Maybe this happened during the day. That is why I'm feeling like that. Do you see your mind trying to find a cause? He said this, she said this. Oh, I received this message. I saw that reel. Maybe it is because of this. Maybe I'm thinking like that. I'm not really thinking. I'm just trying to create an excuse for the feeling. That is called established upon feeling. I've created a big story. There's a sprinkling of delight. The delight comes from identification with the feeling. And the more I indulge in this delight plus whatever the pleasantness or unpleasantness of the feeling, it multiplies, it grows, it increases, and it expands. Number 2 question for you. In your samadhi, did you recognize this? Have you come to this point? If not yet, then very important to sit down in a nice long samadhi. Yes, first 10-15 minutes you're just dealing with your restless mind. 10-15 minutes are not counted. That much time only the mind is settling down. You know, if I have a glass container of water with lots of mud in it, it takes 15 minutes, 20 minutes for that mud to settle down. Like that only your mind takes time to settle down. Once it settles down, after that all the seeing can begin, not before that. Clear? So see that you sit in nice long sittings. I would suggest minimum 45 minutes to 1 hour for beginners. And those who are coming to retreats, you already know where you are. Longer than 1 hour, of course. Yeah. So see that you sit longer for panya or insights to arise. Moving ahead to the 3rd paragraph. Or consciousness while standing might stand engaged with perception. Perception is sanya in this chart. What is sanya? It's slightly different from what we do on the Advaita path. This is more like English sanya, or perception. Yeah, where I see something, I see a form, it is circular and it is red in color and it has a juicy flavor. Oh, apple. So the labeling part is what perception does, what sanya does. Only the label apple. Is that clear? What is sanya? Yeah, that is sanya on Buddha's path, perception. The moment a form comes up, immediately sanya doesn't come. Many times in samadhi, many forms come and go. You just see them as movements. You're not really engaging with them. But a particular form comes up, it is right in my face. Sanya labels it friend, parent, boss, colleague, project report, portfolio page, bank statement, something. Yeah, that is right in my face, and then I start getting engaged with it by labeling. Oh, my bank statement is so bad, my financial situation is not good, etc., etc. Story begins. Yeah? Based on perception, I become rich or I become poor. Yeah? I become good or I become bad based on perception, whatever I labeled. And then I get established upon perception, means the story. I have to do something about this is not good, etc., etc. The sprinkling of delight is there, of identifying with that bank statement, with the market portfolio, whatever form was there, yeah, for which the labeling came up. So that delight is there and the unpleasantness is there. Do you recognize both? It's a very twisted kind of way the mind works. If you really dive deeper, you will always see this dvandva within. Okay. So the same thing, you go on harping on the story, there is growth, it increases and it expands. Okay. So our consciousness while standing might stand engaged with perception, based on perception, established upon perception with a sprinkling of delight. It might come to growth, increase and expansion. Sanya is clear? Yeah, so far we have completed form, which is rupa, feeling, which is vedana, and perception, which is sanya. 3 aggregates have been completed so far. Are you recognizing what do you get caught up in more in your samadhi? And the same pattern will be in open-eyed daily routine. Yeah, but it's easier to recognize what is my dominant engagement in samadhi. It's harder to recognize in open-eyed. Yeah, that's why I insist sit down in samadhi. Yeah, now we go to the 4th aggregate. Or consciousness while standing might stand engaged with volitional formations. Volitional formations in Pali are sankharas, in Sanskrit samskaras. Yeah. Simple English, just impressions. Yeah. Impressions created by my will. Do you remember in the previous sutta we did there are 3 kinds of sankharas? Yes, what are the 3 kinds? How many of you remember? Bodily, mental and verbal. So those who don't remember, time to brush up. You've not been revising your sutta as well. So 3 kinds of sankharas are there. What is a volitional formation? There's just a will. Just a will. And that will is sufficient for consciousness to go out and get engaged in something. Without my will, consciousness will not engage. Not possible. Yeah? And the will can be either coming up presently or a will which is born out of my habit patterns. Do you recognize? You always behave in the same way with the child, with the spouse, with the parent, with the friend. Yeah? That same behavior, from where is it coming? It is a stored impression. It is my will to behave like that with the parent, with the friend, with the spouse. So it keeps coming up again and again. Yeah? That is why volitional, the word volition means will. Okay? So our consciousness while standing might stand engaged with volitional formations, based upon volitional formations, established upon volitional formations, with a sprinkling of delight. It might come to growth, increase and expansion. I just have the will to inculcate discipline into the child. That will is sufficient for me to take on the role of the disciplinarian in the family. Based upon that volitional formation, I became the disciplinarian. Do you recognize that? You're not speaking to yourself in words. You're not giving yourself these titles in words. But these titles are there. Yeah? That is the meaning of basis. And then established upon volitional formations, the story begins. Why did you throw your shoes in the middle of the room? I have taught you a million times not to do that. Why don't you park your shoes right at the door? Why have you dirtied the floor? Etc., etc., etc. This is the established upon volitional formations, and the story multiplies. So there is growth, increase, expansion. It can expand to an argument, it can expand to a major family drama. Do you recognize this? Now see, in Samadhi, when the eyes are closed, it's very easy to see this volitional formation is a mental volitional formation, disciplining the child. Yeah. There are volitional formations at the body level, yeah, wanting to be fit, wanting the body to be fit and not unhealthy. That's a bodily volitional formation. Verbal volitional formations, I should speak like this and I should not speak like this. I should not speak in an angry way to the child when I discipline him or her. It could be anything. I'm just throwing out examples. I just wanted to again remind you there are 3 types of volitional formations. So when you're sitting in closed-eyed samadhi, you can recognize the will. Even if it is coming from a past habit pattern, before you start arguing with the child, even at the mental level in samadhi, you will recognize that little volitional formation come up. The will to discipline him or her come up. Will is not in words, Volition is not in words. It's not speaking in English or Marathi or Portuguese or in French saying, I want to discipline the child. It's like an internal force. Recognize that internal force. It's at a bhava level. Okay. Now we come to the most important aggregate, the consciousness aggregate, Vijnana. Because though someone might say, apart from form, apart from feeling, apart from perception, apart from volitional formations, I will make known the coming and going of consciousness, its passing away and rebirth, its growth, increase and expansion. That is impossible. So what is he attempting to say here? That consciousness cannot exist apart from the first 4 aggregates. Form, feeling, volitional formations and what did I forget? Form, feeling, perception and volitional formations. Consciousness cannot stand apart, separate from them. Yeah? You will always have consciousness with some form or some feeling or some perception or some volitional formation. This is very important to see. When you are getting engaged into something, it is always 2 aggregates. Consciousness plus something, whatever it is engaged in. Consciousness plus feeling. Consciousness is engaged in feeling. Consciousness is engaged in perception. Consciousness is engaged in a volitional formation, or consciousness is engaged in form. Okay. So the first line is clear. Apart from form, feeling, perception, volitional formations, I will make known the coming and going of consciousness, its passing away and rebirth, its growth, increase, expansion. It is impossible. Means the whole story cannot be created without consciousness being latched onto something. That is what it is saying. Yeah? Form cannot come up on its own and say that form exists independent of consciousness. No, it does not. Consciousness holds on to form and makes form important, makes form the center story. Whether the form is your spouse, your parent, your child, your boss, that is the form. Consciousness is going and grasping onto the form, engaging with the form, and making the form come and go, or grow, increase, expand, or completely pass away. Consciousness is doing it. Has this become clear what he's attempting to say? Yeah? These cannot exist apart from consciousness. Consciousness cannot exist apart from these. Has that part become clear? So those who are on the Advaita Vedanta path, very clearly he's talking about witness consciousness. Witness consciousness loses its witnessing position and engages with a story and becomes the person, and then holds on to the story and says, I am sad, I am unhappy, why did you do this to me? And multiplies. Now, when it zooms out away from it, the story collapses. Is that clear? That is the passing away. It's passing away. Rebirth, it comes back up. I only bring it up. I cannot say, oh, somebody else is responsible. No. Yeah. On the Buddha's path, it is very clear. Consciousness wanted to engage in that form. So, this brings us to a very deep level seeing in our daily routine. You blame your spouse, you blame your parent, you blame your family member, saying, you are doing this to me. At that time, what are you really saying unconsciously? That I was not engaged in this argument, you brought it to me. Not possible, Buddha is saying. You wanted to get engaged in that argument. Do you see that? Yeah. So it is not possible for somebody to make me angry if I don't want to get angry. It is not possible for somebody to make me sad if I don't want to be sad. Yeah, this is very important to see. This wisdom goes to a very deep level. You can't say, oh, Didi, I was very restless in my samadhi, I must have eaten something wrong. No, you are blaming it again on circumstances. You are blaming it on something external. Nope. Buddha says, if the consciousness wants to be restless, it's going to be restless in that samadhi. You don't want to do the samadhi, and that is the truth. So start applying this at every level, with friends, with family, with children, with parents, with spouses, with your siblings, with office colleagues, friends, everywhere. Start recognizing that I blame this one for that, and that one for that, and that one for that. Nope. They could not bring this dukkha to me unless I wanted to grasp onto it. I got engaged. Yeah, so now figure this out at this level. Okay. I'll read that last part again. Because though someone might say, apart from form, apart from feeling, apart from perception, apart from volitional formations, I will make known the coming and going of consciousness, its passing away and rebirth, its growth, increase and expansion. That is impossible. For those who are in the higher Advaita level Gurukuls, the I collapses when it has nothing to engage in. Some of us have seen this. Yeah. Buddha's statement is like a confirmation for that. He's saying it's impossible that it can grow without something to engage in. The moment it is standing alone, it recognizes it's standing alone, it collapses. Yeah. Some of us are not there at the higher Ajatvada level, where you see the collapse of the I, keep it as a goal. Even on the Buddha's path, in Jhana 9, I can get to that level. Yeah, so he's actually giving us a confirmation for that seeing of mine, where when the I has nothing to engage with, it collapses. Okay. Moving on to the next paragraph. Now he gives us what to do about it. These first few paragraphs were about recognizing what is the dominant aggregate in which I get engaged. Yeah, so that is the main homework for you in your next samadhi. Figure out what is your dominant one. What do you get so consumed in? You get identity from that, you get established in that, you get completely lost in the expansion of that. Yeah? You have to figure that out. It can be 1, 2, 3 or all 5. Okay. This next paragraph is a solution. Now what to do? Bhikkhus, if a bhikkhu has abandoned lust for the form element, with the abandoning of lust, the basis is cut off. There is no support for establishing of consciousness. I'll stop there. Everything else is a repetition of the same. What is the first thing he's telling us? Abandoning the lust for form. Why do I get engaged? Why do I get consumed? Why do I get into story making? Because I have lust for the form. Not only is craving lust, even aversion is lust. Aversion is a greater form of lust. If you hate somebody, you think more about them than the ones you love. Have you realized that? That is the most important pointer here. I have lust for that form. That is why I got hooked onto that form, and I found my basis, means the identity, and then I went into the story. The moment I recognize there is lust, if I abandon the lust, automatically the basis is cut off, means the identification is cut off. That also happens in samadhi naturally. Many forms appear and disappear, and you do not get caught up in them. Has that happened in samadhi? Yeah. How many of us have realized this? Yes. That means we did a good samadhi at that moment. I was not interested in getting engaged. I really wanted to do a good samadhi. Yeah. So the lust for that particular form did not really consume me. So I abandoned the lust for the form element. Yeah. With the abandoning of lust, the basis was cut off. Yeah. And what is basis? Basis is just an identification. I am the parent, I am the son, I am the sibling. This is the basis. This basis got cut off. The moment this basis is cut off, the story has no support. Is that clear? What is basis is clear. What is establishing is clear. And abandoning of the lust is clear. Same applies to all the aggregates. If he has abandoned lust for the feeling element, with the abandoning of lust, the basis is cut off. There is no support for the establishing of consciousness. I love to feel a feeling. Do you recognize this? I love to feel a feeling. Why? Because I get identification even by hooking onto a feeling. It doesn't matter whether the feeling is a pleasant feeling or an unpleasant feeling. I just love to feel a feeling. If you recognize this inner thing, this is called the lust for feeling. This is what you need to work on to abandon. Ego doesn't like this. Ego says, no, I want this feeling. Do you recognize that? Yeah. Observe that also. Your problem is your ego only. It's not the other person in your world who you call the enemy that is a big problem for you. Your own ego is the obstacle on your path. So abandon the lust for the feeling element and you will see that the basis is cut off. What is the basis? I am the experiencer. That's the identity I got. And that basis gets cut off. The moment that basis gets cut off, now there is no support for establishment. Means no story can be created about the feeling. I like this feeling. I had the same feeling the last time. You did this, that time I felt like this. You've not been really nice to me. You've been nice to me. Whatever story. All this does not stand a chance the moment I cut off the basis. Do you recognize that? Yeah, so the basis is clear and what is lust for feeling is clear. Now I'll move ahead. If he has abandoned lust for the perception element, with the abandoning of lust, the basis is cut off. There is no support for the establishing of consciousness. Very important, lust for the perception element. I love to feel that I am the thinker, I am the intelligent one, I came up with this idea. I see through your gimmicks, I can hear your thoughts. I can feel what you feel without you telling me. Do you see this? This is all sanya at work, perception at work. I am brilliant, I am smart, see how I came up with this in my own mind. And the other person is explaining to you, no, I don't think like that. No, I know you think like this about me. This is sanya. Do you recognize this? Yeah. Why are you clutching on to, I know you think like this about me? Because you have the lust for sanya, for perception. I hope this is getting clear. If I don't have lust for perception, I will not get into this argument only that I can see what you are saying. I can see your thoughts even when you don't tell me. I know what is going on in your mind. Yeah, this perception creates this big beautiful story, establishes in the story and goes round and round, increases it and expands the whole story. Yeah? None of it might be true, but I love to think that I am the thinker and I can come up with great ideas. I can see through. Sanya. This is the lust for sanya, perception element. Very important to work on if you are an intellectual and you feel, oh, I am so smart, I can see through. This lust will drown you. Yeah? The lust will drown you. Not to label, not to label. Rip off all labels. Even if the label is, this person is cruel, this person is manipulating me, this person is the enemy. Rip off all labels. It is definitely going to drown you by weakening your Shila and therefore weakening your Samadhi. Yeah, no way to move ahead on the Buddha's path at least. Then. Clear? Lust for sanya is very clear. Okay, moving ahead. If he has abandoned lust for the volitional formations element, with the abandoning of lust, the basis is cut off. There is no support for the establishing of consciousness. Now this is the hardest work that you will have to do on yourself. Recognizing the will before the body opens its mouth and starts arguing or fighting or saying something. Recognizing that quiet whirlwind before the words come out of the mouth. That is the verbal volition that gave birth to the verbal argument, whatever happened, whatever was said, that came from that one little will. Being able to recognize the will, that is the hardest work you will do, and this will happen later on in Samadhi. Earlier samadhis, you'll have to just work on recognizing the form, the feeling, the sanya, perception. Yeah? When these become clearer and clearer and you have learned to cut away or abandon the lust for these three, now you will come to that point where you have learned to abandon the lust for that particular will. A will always proceeds before the parent tells the child, I've told you a zillion times, don't keep the shoes in the middle of the room. Finding the will that preceded this sentence that came out of the mouth. That. Yeah, for that you really need to be absolutely quiet in samadhi, learn to figure out this is the way will moves. Will is like a quiet whirlwind. Yeah, it's moving quietly below. And the more quieter and quieter the mind gets, it can recognize this movement. Just by recognizing the movement, it gets abandoned. Now, a parent looks at a mischievous child with those big eyes. You just look at the child, don't say anything. The child is throwing things, breaking toys, and suddenly notices you looking at him. He quietly sits down in the corner. That's exactly what happens with a volitional formation. I have to just recognize it. It's like parenting your own mind. The moment you recognize there is this will to shout at the child, to scream, to argue, to say something, and just observe that little whirlwind. You will notice it's like a turbulent wave below the surface, moving. Just observe its movement, just observe. Just by observing, it will still, quieten and disappear. There's nothing else to do. Quiet observation. But this is a strategic observation. It happens only at a later stage if you have practiced well on form, on feeling, and on perception. Then you can go to this depth, to this level, where you recognize a will before the body gets up and does something. Recognizing the will is very important on Buddha's path. And again, word of caution, this is not easy in open-eyed. Do it in closed-eyed samadhi, and then you see it automatically seeps into open-eyed. You don't have to make an effort. You'll start seeing it in open-eyed. You become so sensitive, so quiet the mind becomes, that you start seeing this little turbulent wave. Clear? So abandoning the lust happens only by observation, astute observation of this turbulent wave of volitional formation. Just by observing, you can cut it off. Okay. Now we come to the last part. If he has abandoned lust for the consciousness element, with the abandoning of lust, the basis is cut off. There is no support for the establishing of consciousness. This is obviously the last thing that will happen. After the will starts listening to you and dissolves, the one that was observing, the observer, now decides not to be I. There is no more I-ness left. There is a recognition. The moment I come into I, it is personhood. It is a false illusion. I am not a person itself. I am not the person at all. I never was. This whole idea of I am the person, this starts dissolving. This is the last step that happens. After all that which can be observed is abandoned, even the observer is abandoned. And this is the strongest lust that we have. It is called a fetter on the Buddha's path. Fetter means, prisoners are tied in the jail with chains. Yeah, like that. Suppose you are fettered, all your hands and legs are fettered. Yeah, so one of the biggest fetters is this I. This, he says, is amongst the last to collapse, to disappear. Why? Because the observer wants to exist, no? Wants to say, I am. Yeah? So it is abandoning lust for the consciousness element is literally abandoning lust for I am. Yeah? You also have that lust to exist, to be someone. Yeah? Recognize that. Yeah, so if he has abandoned lust for the consciousness element, with the abandoning of lust, the basis is cut off. Basis here simply is the identification, wanting to identify with something. There is no more want to identify. Yeah? In the other four aggregates, identification happened because of one of the aggregates. What was preceding the identification was the want for identification. So the want for identification exists at what level? At the consciousness level. So at the consciousness level, abandoning of lust means abandoning of that wanting to be, to exist. Being happy with nobodiness, with shunyata. Can you please mute yourself? We'll have a question answer session and you can talk at that time. Abandoning the lust to be, to exist. Yeah, so now I come to the point where the lust to exist is abandoned. What will happen now? Will the I come up? Does the I stop coming up ever? No, not even in the unenlightened. Not even in the enlightened will the I stop coming up. Yeah? So that is what is the last paragraph. When the consciousness is unestablished, means it has no story left to harp on, to latch on to, unestablished, not coming to growth, no story to grow on, no identification to grow on, non-generative, it is liberated. Yeah? Same, non-generative, there is no generation of more and more stories. It is liberated. How does it get liberated? The last part is very important. The lust for identification itself is abandoned. There is no lust for wanting to be the parent, the friend, the spouse, the man, the woman, tall, short, happy, unhappy, smart, intelligent, rich, poor. None of these identifications are craved for. Nothing. Not even to exist. Which does not mean he goes and commits suicide. Only the lust has been abandoned. There is a difference. Yeah? There is no aversion. Only the lust has been abandoned. Lust has both craving and aversion. And neither does he hate being, neither does he love being. To be, to become, to exist as something. There is neither hatred for it, nor there is love for it. Means there is neither aversion to it, nor is there craving for it. When there is neither aversion nor craving for existing, then it is unestablished. Then only can it become liberated. I hope this is clear. For those who are on the Advaita path, the I collapses and it recognizes, oh, I am something beyond. This I is only a thought that appears in me. Why should I be connected to something as petty as a thought when I found something higher? I have recognized I am beyond. The same is on the Buddha's path. It is liberated. By being liberated, it is steady. By being steady, it is content. By being content, he is not agitated. being unagitated, he personally attains Nibbana. That means only that I, which has collapsed into Shunyata, has recognized I am Shunyata. Why should I now identify as something as petty as an I thought? It's only a thought. Yeah. So it doesn't get agitated. It is very content. It is steady now. Yeah. It is liberated. That brings us to the last statement. You will see this in most suttas. He understands, destroyed his birth, the holy life has been lived, what had to be done has been done. There is no more for this state of being. Clear? The entire samadhi is given in one sutta. How I get engaged in form, I get engaged in feeling, I get engaged in perception, I get engaged in volitional formations. I start recognizing consciousness plus form is suffering, consciousness plus feeling is suffering, consciousness plus perception is suffering, consciousness plus volitional formations is suffering. Oh, I'm only suffering here. Then it learns to abandon. Oh, there is lust for form, there's lust for feeling, there's lust for volitional formations, there's lust for perception. If I cut off this cord of lust, there is no question of any feeling, any story left. No story creation can happen. The moment this lust is abandoned, lust means both craving as well as aversion. When both are abandoned, then consciousness has nothing to hook onto. Then even the I-ness is dropped and it collapses into Shunyata. That is liberation. Yeah. So that completes the sutta. Any questions?
Vidya, I have a few questions.
One by one.
So, when you said in the first paragraph, identity expands with each aggregate, the AMKB is happening.
What is happening?
Right? AMKB.
Oh, like, yeah. Asmita Mamata. Yes.
Right? So, like, because in Samadhi, so many times I can see that I'm here and something is happening, and the moment it hooks, then it expands.
Yes.
Pura behed I.
Yes,
that is the book of expansion, correct?
Correct.
And then, Didi, one thing you said about consciousness not hooking onto the arising. This is so clearly seen in FNGS. Like, I am here, I don't care what happens there. Correct?
Yeah.
And then the same arising may come, it was seen, don't remember the dream content, just wrote next morning that after the dip, the same similar pattern dream came, still left, like, so same arising can come, but the consciousness can let it go.
Yeah.
And Didi, about the feeling, so this is the Turiya's problem, is feeling. So it was journaled so many times. Is that the same thing, Didi, that you taught, like 3 yogis, 3 paths? So, like, some people have the tendency to be more attached to the feelings, that is, people in the heart.
Yes.
And then the labeling like that's not so much
Yeah.
of my problem,
Yeah.
but that is the
That's good. So you don't get engaged in sanya, but somebody else could be predominantly engaged in sanya. So they have to work on sanya. Whereas you have to work on feeling. Everybody is different. It depends on who has a predominant aggregate that engages them. You have to figure that out. Okay.
because I saw it in my pattern journaling. Everything is related to feeling.
Yeah. So
And
that's something
feelings,
you have to work on.
so witnessing basically. That is the meaning of
No,
Katha.
he went one level deeper. No, he says you have lust for feeling.
Yeah.
So now
Yeah.
you start really observing, I have lust for feeling, even if it is a bad feeling. I want to feel bad. How silly is this? What am I doing to myself? Work on that. When you start working from that bad feeling and learn to disengage from that bad feeling, abandon the lust even for a bad feeling, naturally lust for a good feeling will also drop away. You can't say, oh, I want to keep the lust for the good feeling and I want to drop the lust for the bad feeling. Not possible. Two sides of the same coin. Huh? Just a warning for those who were thinking, I'm going to do only one. Not possible. Completely abandoning the lust for feeling.
And Didi, that is a Vedana storm, right? That we did.
Mhm.
So the like seeing that we witness the Vedana and see where the misconduct has happened,
Yes.
and then
Yes.
coming back to the four foundations of mindfulness. I wrote you today only. I did that. That Didi, I'm being bothered so much by this feeling, and then automatically the waker picked up that sutta, reviewed it, and did the journaling.
That's wonderful. But now he's in this particular sutta, there is one addition that I have the lust for that feeling. I have to start recognizing what is the flavor of this lust? How does that come up? Have I fed it in the past? And how am I feeding it? Naturally, I'm feeding it. That is why it keeps coming back again and again and again. So, if it's happening repetitively, I have fed the lust in the past. So, how can I recognize this is the way I'm feeding and can I starve it now?
Didi, the feeding happens with a misconduct, na?
Not necessarily, no? You're sitting in samadhi. That's why the example was you're sitting peacefully and suddenly an unhappy feeling comes up. Suddenly a feeling comes up. The first feeling we are talking about, we are not talking about vasana here, we are talking about that vichara. Yeah? Bringing in Advaita Vedanta, for the people who are working from Advaita Vedanta, it's the first feeling we are talking about that comes up of its own accord in samadhi to try to engage the consciousness. The consciousness was sitting quietly, meditating. No form, no feeling, no perception, no volitional formation, nothing. Absolutely quiet and very calm state like the Buddha, and there that unhappy feeling came up. Whatever it is, restlessness feeling came up, angry feeling came up, hateful feeling came up. I don't know what comes up for you. You recognize this first feeling that came up. From where did this come? This has a will behind it. It has a will behind it, a samskara. Even on Advaita Vedanta path, we speak of the same. From an impression, karmic impression, the first vichara comes up. It's not on the Advaita Vedanta path to go deeper into this level. On the Buddha's path, at every level you will keep going deeper, deeper, deeper. So to recognize the will, and the will could have become my habit pattern so much so that I don't even recognize the will came, I didn't even realize it, and the vichara came my way. That will is a habit pattern. By habit pattern, what do I mean? It is familiar. It is not unknown. It is something that I know. That.
Didi, but I don't remember so many vicharas that come and go.
Yeah. So then that means you're not getting engaged. You don't have to work on the ones that you're not getting engaged on.
Okay.
Sutta started it. What's the first line?
Yeah, engaged.
One who is engaged is unliberated. Engaged. We are only talking about the vicharas where I get engaged and I get lost. I was supposed to do samadhi. I get to a good point and I spoil my own samadhi. Next 20 minutes I'm fighting with the family member in my mind. I got engaged. Has that become very clear? I cannot forget that. I wasted 20 minutes of my samadhi. I know what I wasted my samadhi on. Clear? So you cannot say I don't know. You know it.
Yeah, I know. So only working on the vasana. That's why I only journal the vasana.
Yes. Whatever you got engaged on. Yes. But now we are working one level deeper, no? The impression that brought up the vichara towards which vasana happened. You were only working on the vasana part. Now we are working on the impression that brought up the first arising towards which the vasana happened or the reaction happened.
And how will I know that?
It is not unknown to you. If you started, I told you, no, the example of telling your son, don't put shoes in the middle of the room. You know it. You know this will. It's a will. You understand will, right? W-I-L-L, a will. Yeah? Volition. I have it in me to discipline the son or the daughter, whoever it was. That is the will. At that level you have to work on.
Didi, is that the, that we did in the 17 days retreat, sit, see the Vedana and see the I holding on to it and then the characteristic of the I? Is that the thing?
Yeah, the 18 verbalizations of craving. Yes, it is that. One level deeper. The lust for the feeling. I didn't recognize the lust for the feeling, the lust for the form, recognizing the lust for the volitional formation, recognizing the lust for the perception. The lust is important in this sutta.
So the lust is the glue that holds the I to the feeling?
Correct. Why will I even want to have this feeling? Because I have a lust for it. Identifying the lust factor here. The entire sutta is only that lust. It's only talking about lust. Yeah.
Didi, give some more examples.
This is such a subtle thing. It cannot be put into words. It's not in words that it happens. You love to feel a feeling. You love to think that you are the thinker. You love to feel that you can recognize a form or the form is related to you. The loving, the wanting identification from a form, the wanting identification from a feeling, the wanting identification from perception, or the wanting identification from the volitional formation, the will. That wanting, that is what you have to work on, the wanting.
Didi, I'll give you one example that I recognized in the last few months. So the waker had the habit of watching Netflix. Last year there was this the working on it, okay. And then with pattern journaling, there was recognition that there is a fondness towards the stories and identifying with any one character in the story. And then seeing the movie with that story, with that identification. So that was journaled. Then Netflix thing dropped, but the waker still liked stories. She was in a book club.
So we're talking about the lust for identifying through a story. The lust.
Yes.
Now you're working on something deeper.
Yes. And today, this something was journaled after the long samadhi, and then the waker automatically left the book club. She was in a book club.
I'm not saying leave. Like that, you leave everything. You leave your friends, family, money, name, fame. No, what? You want to go and sit on the Himalayas? Then you'll be lusting in your mind. No, it's not these objects that need to be dropped. Of course, if it's become an addiction and it's taking away your productive time, then it needs to be dropped, like Netflix needs to be dropped. But just in case somebody else was lusting for the spouse's kind words, you can't abandon your spouse. That's not what is being discussed here. It's the lust that needs to be worked upon, not the object per se. Then occasionally if you watch Netflix, you will watch it without guilt, because it's not an addiction now. It's not like 24 hours I have to be on Netflix. Once in a blue moon I watch, and I'm watching it happily now, because now I know I'm not addicted. So if you're not understanding abandoning lust, understand abandoning the addiction. Understand it that way. And you have addiction to your children, to your parent, to your friend, because they give you an identity. Yeah? Your parent keeps saying, oh, my chona mona, my monu monu. You love that monu monu rubbish that she or he says to you. It doesn't make any sense, any nonsense. But there is the lust for that identification that is there in that. That lust needs to be abandoned, not the parent. Has it started becoming clear? Yeah? So he's saying abandon it at the lust level. Cut that cord.
That lust is that craving or aversion, Didi.
Yes,
right?
Yeah. I love to feel that feeling. Recognize that. That is something I need to drop. Not the craving for the mother's praise. I love, there is one thing prior to that. I love to feel the feeling that comes from the mother's praise. The love to feel the feeling needs to be cut off. Okay? As most of you could probably connect with the mother, so I use mother, but please go deeper into your personal examples.
There is the lust for identification. Like the storybook example I gave, there was a lust for identification. So the I wanted to identify to be something. Basically, I hooks onto that.
Yeah. But dissociating with Netflix or dissociating with the book club still does not take away the lust, darling. You're working on the object. I'm telling you to work on the feeling of the subject. The feeling that the subject is attached to. If you abandon one object, the subject still has that lustful feeling. It will find some other object. Do you see that? So abandoning objects is not going to really remove the issue, the problem. The problem is the lust of the subject. I love to feel this feeling. I love to think I am the thinker. I love to think about this form because this form gives me the feeling I am this form. Just work at these first three levels: form, feeling, and perception. Volitional formations and consciousness will come later. Automatically it will grow on you. You start with the basics. Start with form, feeling, and perception. Can I work on these three first? Clear?
Didi, but what I was saying is it automatically dropped.
Yeah, that is okay. Yeah. That's fine. I'm not saying it's wrong that it dropped. If some things shelf life is over, it's going to drop anyways. Its shelf life was over. I was done with Netflix and I unsubscribed. I lost interest. Now, how much ever you force me sit and watch the movie, I am looking through the screen. I'm not watching it. Yeah? I'm just there because my family member has forced me. Yeah? So just through the screen, I'm staring at infinity, not even looking at what's going on the screen. Yeah? That is a possibility. Yeah? So what has happened? The lust has been abandoned. There's no lust anymore. Then the object is not a problem. This is how you can be in the world and still be spiritual. You don't have to run away from the world. Yeah. Then if it drops away, it's dropped away. Great, my addiction to Netflix has dropped away. But if someday my spouse or my child or my friend says, come sit with me, I'll sit. Yeah, because when lust drops, not only the craving drops, even the aversion drops. If you're averse to the object, that means the lust has not been abandoned yet. Clear? So, very important pointer. Those who feel that aversion has happened to this, that means I've overcome it. No. Your craving has taken on another flavor. It's become aversion. Aversion is craving standing upside down. It is still craving. It is the same thing on the Buddha's path. Yeah, under the same umbrella, the Pali word for it is tanha, thirst. Craving is also a thirst. Aversion is also a thirst. I don't want to see my neighbor's face. I don't want to see my neighbor's face. Early in the morning, if I see his face, my whole day is going to get destroyed. You step out of the house, whose face do you see? The neighbor's face. Aversion is also lust. Are you getting it? So I'm just explaining to you that not only is craving lust, aversion is also lust. So recognizing that the aversion or craving has been cut off. It doesn't matter then whether the object is there or not there in the waking anymore. Clear? Okay, next question.
So, Didi, actually, if one Vedana, you're saying Rupa are one of them, right? But I feel if one comes, everything comes.
No.
Everything.
That's what. So you have to slow down your mind in samadhi. The mind has not slowed down enough to be able to recognize that the first is always one. It's either a form, it's always either a feeling or volitional formation or perception. We are only working on that first. The first arising.
Once the first starts, everything follows, I feel.
Yeah, that is the meaning of story, no? Not to get into the story, that is too far away.
Yeah, everything happens after that.
Yeah, that's what we called about establishing upon it. Yeah, there's a sprinkling of delight. That is what we call growth, increase and expansion. You've gone too far, it's too late. Yeah, the lust has already sucked you in. So the tsunami has already taken you away. Now you cannot come back to the shore. Buddha is teaching you how to stay at the shore. The tsunami comes, but it cannot take me away. My feet are still on the sand. I am still standing there. Yeah, how?
Yeah.
The first arising, the lust that I have towards it, that lust needs to be abandoned. This is a sutta at that level.
Yeah, the last is nothing but, I at least noticed is, it is just there so that I can exist most of the times. I want it to be something,
Correct.
so it comes up.
I want to feel a feeling. I want to think a perception. I want to have the volitional formation. I want to be the consciousness. I want to be engaged in this form. This is the lust.
Yeah, I want that continuous, the agitation in me, I want that something to be going on always, so that I can.
Correct.
That is why I have all these things, I think.
Yes. So you have to recognize I want to be engaged. That I want to be engaged itself is a lust. That is what I need to abandon.
Yeah. So when I am in the, as you said, it is easy for me in the closed eyes to see that first will, which is like a sensation, which is not formed into any of these things, rupa or whatever. Before that itself, there is a sensation that comes that it want to become something. So that you can clearly see when I'm in closed eyes. That too, when I'm continuously doing the meditations, not on and off.
Yeah,
So I
correct.
seen that. But if I stop the meditations, then I just,
Yes,
it is a flood that pushes me.
correct.
Takes
So on the Buddha's path, if you don't meditate, if you don't sit in samadhi, you're not going to get it. And
Yeah.
I guarantee you, after 4-5 suttas, you will drop out of Buddha Gurukul because you will not be getting it.
Yeah.
So it's important that on the Buddha's path, I'm telling everybody, not just with the Vijaya, that you sign up for the Samadhi sessions. There is a Sunday Zoom and there is a Wednesday Zoom. Nobody is asking you for money for it, in case you were worried about paying money for it. It is Gyan Dana to you. You are getting Dana of the Zoom. It's a professional Zoom. Somebody else is paying for you. So get out of that chindigiri in your mind, the cheap mind mentality, and commit samadhi. If I'm serious about my path, I need to get absorbed in samadhi. Yeah. Become strict with your mind, just like I became strict with you a second ago. Be strict with it. This is what I have chosen. This is my commitment, and I will now take up this discipline. Without weekly samadhi practice, you are not going to get there. You will definitely drop out. Might as well drop out now. Why are you making me check your journals? It's a lot of work. Do you realize that? Checking so many people's 100 entries in the journal is a lot of work. Yeah. Write to me today only. I don't think I have the commitment or the time or the seriousness. Please don't check my journals. Yeah. Get very strict with yourself. Only discipline will work on Buddha's path. Otherwise, all this is just going to be airy-fairy knowledge. You'll listen to it when the session is going on. After the session, you'll be like, I don't know what was said. Yeah, why? Because you've not been really practicing in samadhi. In samadhi, you go to that level where the mind settles down. The milestone is bodilessness. You cannot feel the body anymore. Somewhere the breath is, somewhere you don't know where the breath is. You can't recognize the breath here. It's somewhere. There is no body. Just the movement of breath. Bodilessness has happened. You've done a good samadhi. Then only these insights can come up. Without that first milestone, forget about it. All this is just going to be stuff that you're going to memorize. Yeah, so just like I got strict with you in the past 3 minutes, get strict with yourself. Ekta is not going to come and be strict with me all the time. I need to be my own teacher, my own mentor, my own guru. I need to discipline myself. Yeah? And then whatever you waste your time in, Netflix and partying and discos and friends or whatever you're doing, reduce that, bring in samadhi. 1 hour, 2 hours, how much ever you can manage every week. The seniors who come to the retreat, they sit almost every day. Yeah? I don't tell the beginners to sit every day. How much ever you can manage. 1 hour, 2 hours in a week. Get strict with yourself. Enough, I have done this nonsense and I've recognized this world is like fire. How much ever I put my hand in, there is no joy, there is no joy, there is no joy. It only burns me. Let me wake up. Yeah. And sometimes you really need to pick up the stick in front of the mind, no? Sometimes the mind is very mischievous, not disciplined. Ekta cannot pick up the stick in every Gurukul session or come to my house every now and then to tell me. I have to pick up the stick. Yeah, so show the truth to the mind. What did you get by indulging? 6 hours you wasted on web series. Okay, what did you learn? Crime web series. You learned how to kill somebody, how to murder somebody. Very intelligent you've become. How has it contributed to your life? Some strategy you've learned how to kill another human. Are you ever going to apply it? Didn't you just waste 6 hours of your life? Like that. Training the mind, like how sometimes you shout at your little kid. Like that, disciplining your own mind is required. Yeah.
How much ever you engage it, it's not enough because it doesn't get satisfied with anything. That is what I know. Whatever you do, you are not able to satisfy that.
Yes, yes. That is the
Sometimes
teaching.
when the vitamins are less in your body, you feel like eating something, but nothing satisfies.
Yeah.
It's the same thing I felt like whatever, how much ever I feed, how much ever I engage, nothing satisfies this unless until the nothingness in the, no thoughts, nothingness.
Yes.
That is the
Shunyata.
one which settles down everything.
Yes,
Till that
yes.
point where I'm just running around everything.
Yes, yes, yes. So that time, remember how Ekta picked up the stick? Like that, I have to pick up the stick on myself. What did I get from doing this nonsense? Can I just sit? Yeah, when you are strict with yourself, then soon that becomes the new pattern. And allow that pattern of discipline to come in. It's important for discipline to erase the indiscipline. Once the indiscipline gets erased, this discipline now allows you to grow. And a point will come even when the discipline will not be required. The discipline will also get erased. It will become a recognition that it was always my nature to be in shunyata. I was running away from my nature, that is why I was suffering. So to go back, all I need is stepping stones. From indiscipline, I come to discipline. And from discipline, slowly I come to the recognition it is my nature only. Yeah. So, though I'm having this discussion with Vijaya, this is for everybody, huh? The stick was for all of us. Yeah, because she is only a representative of this question, but this applies to everyone. Okay.
Ektaji, this, I understand that, when the conscious is attached with the Rupa, Vedana, and the perception, then, we are not getting into the kind of a liberated, right? Once, let's assume that, if I'm doing normal without I attached, like, drinking, sleeping, or when I'm seeing the movie with no I, in that also we have a consciousness attached, right? So, it is a daily routine which I am doing. So I just want to there was some doubt how that is linkage with with attachment. Attachment I clearly understand. Whenever you attach, whenever you have a free time or during the meditation, this comes up from Vedana and perception. In the normal daily routine life also, still when the object is contacted, still you have a consciousness.
Yeah, obviously. So what is your question? It is there in open-eyed daily routine. I'm just saying you don't see it. I know it's a bitter pill to swallow, but you don't see it. That's why I'm saying, see in Samadhi, you'll start seeing moment to moment to moment there is engagement of the consciousness in the open-eyed daily routine.
Okay. I think I'll take up with this later. Actually, I think I could not represent properly. Another one, this the aggregate 5 aggregates we talked about. There are 5 hindrances as well. You have a desire, ill will, sloth, and torpor, and then you have a doubt also. So this aggregate part is beyond the hindrance we are talking about.
Yes, yes.
Once you stabilize there, then we are getting into this, right? Without stabilizing there, you cannot get into here.
Correct. That's what I told you. In your Anapana Samadhi, you get to the point where there is bodilessness. You've come to absolute quiet. And then you start recognizing the mind is now getting engaged in form, or it's getting engaged in sensation, or it's getting engaged in perception. Now you really start seeing. It was happening even before, along with the hindrances. But the hindrances were so heavy on me that I could not see this. This is seeing. I'm telling you to see this. This is happening right now while you're discussing with me. You are getting stuck in the form of Ekta in front of you. You are getting stuck in the feeling that arises from you questioning Ekta, or from Ekta's answer. There is a feeling that is coming. That first feeling that comes of pleasantness or unpleasantness, you are getting hooked onto that. Right here, right now, volitional formation is coming up. I will ask this question. I will not ask this question. That will, that volitional formation is here right now. Yes, but the thing is, we've not learned to slow down the mind to that level in open-eyed daily transaction to be able to see it. So I'm saying, calm down, sit in samadhi, say it, and you'll be able to see it in operation. 24/7 it is there.
Yeah.
Clear?
Yeah. Thanks.
Didi, you tell to see in the open eyes. During the argument with my spouse, I am able to recognize that it is something is going on, but and at the immediately I can't stop. It took a time for me to
Yes.
stop the
Yes.
argument.
Yes. That is the links of dependent origination. There are 12 links. You cannot stop at a certain link. Sometimes you stop after the 12th link. It's really too late. Yeah, but I'll explain that to you also. That is a different wisdom pointer. At every level there is wisdom. Yeah. First you start seeing the first step. Where does the consciousness engage?
Lust. What is the lust behind it?
Correct.
Lust was that he should listen to me, my feelings.
It's more. It's deeper than that.
Deeper than that. In open eye, I saw it. In samadhi, maybe I will realize it.
No. If you don't discuss right now, you won't. You are talking to your husband. You said you want him to understand your feeling. So, you are lusting for the feeling. Fill in the blanks. But no. You are lusting for a feeling.
Because I do so much of work, so he must appreciate me.
So, what are you lusting for?
I was lusting for identity.
Yeah, you get identity. You've already become the wife. He is already the husband, and there is lust. The lust for feeling what?
Feeling,
Huh?
love, feel the feeling.
Gratification.
No, identification has already happened. She's already become the wife. The husband is already there in front of her. There is already argument going on. What is the lust?
Validation.
Appreciation.
Somebody else said something.
For the
Gratification.
It's not identification, it's not validation. All that has happened. Next.
Lust for the feeling that you get when you feel understood
Correct.
by the spouse.
Correct. You're lusting for the feeling that you get when he understands me.
the pleasant feeling I will get when he listens to me.
Not even listens, he just understands.
Understands.
He might listen, but he's probably, his eyes are on the cricket match on the TV. What's the point of listening? So you are lusting for the feeling when he understands me. The feeling of being understood. That is the lust you have to work on. Are you getting this? It's at a very deep psychological level that Buddha goes to. Yeah, not just Rajshri. I'm asking everybody. Does everybody understand it? At what deep level this is going? Yeah, there's a particular lust in me. That lust is what I need to recognize.
Didi, so am I trying to recreate the feelings?
No. It will come up in samadhi automatically, no? If it's a constant thing for her to be arguing with the husband about that, it will come up in samadhi. You have to just recognize, oh, I have this lust, this needs to be abandoned, this needs to be abandoned. That's it. The lust needs to be abandoned, not the spouse. I hope that is clear, Rajshri.
Yes, Didi.
Just for clarification, it's on record. Otherwise, you will say something to your spouse and I will get a call tomorrow morning. Hello, I am Rajshri's husband. Did you say this to her? The husband does not need to be abandoned. The lust for wanting to be understood. That is the issue. That is the core reason for that argument to keep happening again today, again tomorrow, again after a week, again after a month, and continuing. Do you recognize that? That is what I need to work on.
Didi, in deeper sense, actually, it is not the other person understanding, in my view, that gives the ego of greatness that I am right, I have done
that she will figure out. No,
the one
it is I am right for you.
I am right for you. The feeling that gives me when somebody
it is for Vijaya, I am right. For Rajshri, it could not be I am right. It could be something else for her. At an individual level, the lust cannot be figured out. It's not one straight line or single word. No, you cannot figure it out. Only she knows what it is. Only you will be able to figure out your lust. Only she can figure out her lust.
At the end, that lust, whatever creates that sensation, right? We are attached to that sensation that I want that again and again.
Yes.
So that.
Yeah, but the sensation happens because of the lust. Working on the sensation will be of no use. It's too late. Work on the lust, he says. Abandon the lust. Clear? Okay.
Didi, by the knowledge and in samadhi, I'm getting a little bit only, but it is giving satisfaction within that. It is peace, feeling the peace within nowadays.
Yeah, good. But peace is not the goal of this knowledge. The goal of this knowledge is to recognize that all this that is creating suffering needs to be removed. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So work on removing the suffering. Oh, very peaceful knowledge. Fantastic. Wow, Ekta, wonderful. What did you get from that? Nothing. 1 hour I felt good, I clapped at the end. No, that is not the goal of this. The goal of Gurukul is to work on abandoning all suffering. One by one, I recognize it and I abandon the suffering. And to abandon the suffering, do you recognize I have to go deeper into understanding the suffering? And when I go when I go deeper into understanding the suffering, I'm not at peace. Do you recognize that too? Yeah. So you have to be ready to face the fire. Yeah, it is called Jnana Agni, the fire of knowledge. You will have to face that fire. Yeah? And that's not peaceful. So that is what Gurukul aims, that you face the fire of knowledge. And if it is burning me, let the ego get burned. It is that ego only which is getting burned in the fire of knowledge. And the ego tries to jump and say, no, what Ekta is telling is for Rajshri only. It's not applicable to me. If your ego said that, definitely it is for you. It was just trying to dodge the fire. Yeah, wherever you see the ego is trying to dodge the fire, that is actually my work area. I need to work on that. Yeah. Okay. Good. Suttas clear? All questions
Didi.
done?
No, Didi. So, every pattern has a lust. So you have to...
Everything. Every sentence has a lust. Every action of the body has a lust. Every thought that you encourage in the mind has lust behind it. Only if you are completely in shunyata, not even there when the body, mind and the world is functioning, simply at a distance, only then you have learned to abandon lust. That should be your goal. No lust for anything, not even the pleasant, not even happiness, not even love in the world, not even compassion, nothing, nada. Shunyata, simply being nobody and nothing at all times. And then only can I truly be at peace. Otherwise, I'm always going to be agitated.
Didi, so I realize I have to do a lot of work now. And just one clarification, just to check if I'm understanding it correctly. So there is a lust for seeing empty space in the home, like clean, decluttered home, because of which then there is feeling, and then the decluttering happens and the shouting happens, and middle of the like shoes in the middle of the room, things everywhere. But all that could be there. I could still be at zero. But because there is a lust for feeling.
Yeah, whatever, even if you can't put it in words, for decluttering. Yeah.
For decluttering. But so like that. So now in like example, like how do I see it? Like just keep coming to the.
That's why I told you. No. First I told you sit in samadhi.
Okay.
With the intention, I'm going to understand what I lust for. Whatever I get engaged in, I have to start recognizing the lust in it. Without sitting in samadhi, it's not going to happen. With open eye, there's so much input. It's too much. It's overwhelming. You cannot do this directly with open eyes. You have to sit in closed-eyed samadhi. When you sit in closed-eyed samadhi, you recognize in a 1 hour sitting, I was bombarded with ideas, thoughts. Oh, sanya is my predominant aggregate. And before sanya comes, I have the lust, that feeling. I love to think intelligent thoughts. I'm just making up a story here, okay? I'm not saying this will happen to you. Yeah, so now that lust for thinking intelligent thoughts, that needs to be cut off. Yeah, because I am the thinker itself is an illusion. I'm just dreaming, open-eyed dreaming this is. Yeah, so then recognizing that lust is what increases the mental chit-chat. And then you say, oh, I'm always agitated, mind is always full, I'm not at peace. Why? Because you encouraged that particular lust. You did not find it and nip it in its bud. Yeah, you nurtured it, you watered it, you gave it fertilizer, and it multiplied into stories. And now you are cribbing about the stories in the mind. Arey, but where did the stories begin? They begin from your lust. Yeah, so he's asking you, Buddha is asking you in this sutta to identify exactly where your lust lies. In a 1 hour samadhi, if 10 times you got disturbed by intelligent thoughts, perception, labeling, judging, criticizing, talking about things to yourself, you're stuck in sanya. If most of the times you got stuck in the form of the child or the parent or the spouse or the partner, then you are stuck in form. You have to work on form. Sometimes it could be 50-50. Sometimes it could be just feeling. Some people are just stuck in feeling. Oh, then that is the aggregate you have to work on. You have to work on the lust for feeling. I love to feel a feeling. That is my lust. I need to work on that. Has it become clear? The sutta is targeting lust. And it is showing you how that lust will manifest in form, volitional formations, perceptions, and in feelings. So that lust is something that needs to be worked on and abandoned.
Worked on as in identify it.
Just
write it,
observe. Yeah, okay.
Just
Write it. Yeah. That is also good. Journaling. Journal it.
Yeah.
I've told everybody to have a separate journal where you write your personal stuff. Yeah. Write it down. Journal it. Oh, this is my lust. I could have 2, I could have 3 out of all 5. Figure it out. Thinking will not get you there, huh? You have to do it in samadhi.
Yes.
Because when you think, the ego gets in the way, no? It will not let you see the truth. Yeah? So sit in samadhi. So either sit on this coming Sunday or next Wednesday or whenever you get an opportunity, sit in samadhi, do anapana samadhi, go deep into it and figure out the aggregates that are predominant for you. Okay? Everybody's done with their questions? Okay.
Maybe one question.
Huh.
Maybe if I compare myself with this, say, 1 year back, then I think very less. Means I know that these lusts are useless and these mind formations are useless. Means they promise that they will be giving happiness, but there is no happiness. I don't argue, I don't chit chat. Means they are, say, about 10% of what it used to be. Thanks to Gyan and you. But there is a problem with me. Means I am very much good open-eyed. Means in my operations, I means my mind is very much stable. I don't. Means I am very much aware. But when it comes to sitting, I cannot sit for long. Means my back starts paining.
That's
it happens.
okay.
Means is sitting necessary?
Yes, sit on the sofa,
If
no?
I-
Sit on the sofa, sit on a recliner, sit with the legs stretched out in a comfortable position, sit with the support of pillows under the hands if the hands are hurting and taking it to the back. Sit very comfortably. If you're not able to sit, that means the ego is very active. Ego will not let you see it in open-eyed what you can see in closed-eyed.
Means closed eyes is very much mandatory.
Yes, yes.
Without it, nothing can happen.
Yes, yes, yes. Non-negotiable on the Buddha's path.
Okay, Didi, I'll try on a daily basis.
Daily
Means
nahi.
right now I can just.
You just
Maybe
promise
I'll
me
try
once a
to-
week. You promise me once a week.
Then I can promise you thrice a week also. That's not a problem. I'm not short of time, but I can't sit. But okay, I'll try. I'll try.
Yeah, get this thing out of the head. I cannot sit. And that is also one label you've put on yourself. Sanya.
Yes. It's from the beginning. When I was even 15 or 16 years, I used to think that I cannot sit.
Yeah, get it
Although I
out.
can sit in trains.
Yeah, then.
When I travel somewhere, when I drive somewhere, I can sit for 5 hours.
Yeah, and when you watch a movie, you sit for 3 hours. Then? So it's not true. Yeah, it's not true. Yeah.
It's fine. Thank you.
ठीक है, चलो. So everybody sit in samadhi this week whenever you can, and then after the samadhi recognize these, then only fill the journal points. Yeah, all this will come in the samadhi journal now because it can be recognized only at a very subtle quiet level. It's not really recognizable in open-eyed if you have not meditated for long before. So Hong Yu will send us the journal points as soon as she can manage getting them down. The homework writers will send us the points for the homework. And the others who have not taken up any seva, if Buddha is your path, please help them take up some seva. Yeah, either write the homework or write your points, whatever notes you make, you send it to the volunteers and they will put it together and create a good homework document or quizzes out of it. So do some seva for your own Gurukul. See that you're not just taking from the others, you're also giving back. Being debt free on the Buddha's path is equally important. Yeah? Debt means a loan, rin. Yeah? So if you're just taking and not giving back, then you are indebted to them. And when you're indebted, samadhi is not really deep. See that you feel debt-free. Clear? So please write to the volunteers if you can do any small seva tasks. Just for your Buddha Gurukul also is sufficient. Or if you want to do other things, just write to them and feel debt-free and sit in samadhi. Your samadhi will go deeper. Clear? Okay, and those who have not sent me your samadhi journals, see that by next week I should receive your samadhi journals. If not, then maybe you should think of joining a future Gurukul. Okay? And the last instruction is, today was the last session of semester 1. Now next is semester 1 exam. So see that you study from your notes. Hopefully you made good notes. Yeah, just homework points are not going to help you. Yeah, see that you make notes. If you've not made notes, now borrow from the others, but see that you give back in semester 2 to them in some way if you're taking notes from the others. Yeah, so exam is coming up. Exam is mandatory. You cannot move to semester 2 without submitting semester 1 examination. Clear? And just a word of warning, this will be the first time your exam papers will be read. And if I feel that you are not ready to move to semester 2, I will write to you. Clear? If I feel that you don't really see, I will write to you. Yeah? I will look through all the journals also. So I'm looking at your journals, I'm reading your direct seeing, and I'm going to look at your exam paper. On the basis of all three, I will tell you if you're eligible to move to semester 2 or not. Yeah, if you are not eligible, you can go to the pre-Gurukul batch, join Ashtavakra, and try to come up to speed in your direct seeing. Okay? Any question about the exam, about the journals, about the direct seeing?
Didi, I did not submit the Samadhi journal. I sat multiple times to sit Samadhi, and then I extended the Samadhi hours, and then there was holders asking for food. And then I thought I will write it, and then I forgot what I saw.
Okay, yes. So that's why you have to set aside some time that after the Samadhi only you can write the Samadhi journal. Yeah, otherwise you're going to forget whether you really were able to do those particular pointers in your Samadhi. Please don't cook up a story later and say, oh, I did this, maybe I did that. And don't fudge the journal points. Please be honest. And I hope all of you are writing your own journal points, not copying from here and there.
Yes.
Yes? Okay.
That's why I'm not right, Didi, because I forgot.
Yeah, good. I know you are honest. I'm asking everybody. And I know AI has come up and AI can answer the exam paper. And don't worry, we have an AI expert on this team attending right now who's going to look at your exam paper and is going to ask AI, is this written by AI? So you're going to get caught. So please don't do such cheating. See that you write your own exam paper. I want to see typos, mistakes, suddenly Marathi, Hindi, Tamil, Telugu in your paper, so I know you have written it. Yeah, when I see Parsi, French, Gujarati, all kinds of words, when I see inside the answer you're asking, Ekta Didi, is this correct? Then I know you have done this. That's how I know that, oh, in the exam she's asking me whether this is correct or wrong. Yeah, see that you're genuine. Do not copy paste from the internet. You will be asked to drop out. Yeah, so that's just a word of caution. Please do Gurukul as if you've paid $100,000 for an MBA. Yeah, please be that serious, or tell me now only so that I don't spend time in reading your journal. Please value my time. Yeah, drop out maybe next year. Clear? So see that you are sincere and you really do this diligently, or honestly tell the volunteers and me and drop out. Clear? Any questions before I go? Then you have to unmute yourself and ask.
Didi, I have a question. This is going back to the Anapana Samadhi. You had told us that when we come to a point when the breath stops, you said just push through that, just continue through that, and don't go go gasping for breath. That happened a few times, but I'm unable to figure out how to push through that.
Okay, the moment you say push through that, you are telling yourself I have to make an effort. The moment the I has come up and it's making an effort, it's not going to be able to do it. Simply be, simply be, simply be. And if you gasp, it's okay. Don't like start beating yourself. Oh, I gasped, I broke it. No, it's okay. Come back. Observe, observe, observe. Again, settle down. Yeah. The goal is to just be stable, equanimous. Upekha is the word in Pali. To be equanimous with what is. Means even if there is no breath, I am equanimous. Even if there is breath, I am equanimous. It is long, it is short, it is shallow, it is deep, it doesn't matter. It is there, it is not there. I am not bothered. I am equanimous. The same straight line. That is the goal in Anapana.
So I'm able to get to a point of thoughtlessness, but there is no attention on the breath. There's
Yeah. Not required. Fantastic. You came to the void. Now just be.
Okay.
Just being is a skill, no? The I doesn't want to just be. It wants to be something. So what we are learning is to ungrasp and release the object, whatever you were holding on to, and just be. Just be. Where it doesn't like to just be, again it goes and grasps. Again I have to practice the skill of ungrasping, releasing and resting.
Okay.
And just continue doing that. Continue doing that. You'll become an expert. So.
Thank you, Didi.
Okay. No more questions? All good? Okay. So see that you do Samadhi. Next week is your self-exploration, and after that the exam begins. Yeah, so see that you start revising little by little on a daily basis. Go through all the suttas that we have completed till today. If any question arises, revisit the videos. All the videos are in the Buddha Gurukul playlist, both on the Jnana Sangha website and on the YouTube. You should have the links now. You should not be asking your friends, where is the link, where is the link? You should already have it by now. First semester has come to an end. Yeah, so get serious. Revise whatever you feel I'm not getting. Yeah? You have 2 weeks. In 2 weeks, the exam begins. Yeah? So, happy exam writing, and I will see all of you in semester 2 if you get through semester 1. Happy exam writing. Bye-bye.